welcome to Texas Law TV. I have with me today the 2018 Terry Bryant Scholarship winner, Marissa Guzzo. Marissa, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm good, and I'm so proud of you and your presentation. It's on distracted driving, the dangers of distracted driving, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today.
Yes.
So you can't now. Let me just understand because I know we tried to connect last week, and were you at a camp or you were
I was actually, last week I was in the mountains.
you were in the mountains, so you got a
Yes,
little time away.
yes.
Good for you. Now, what high school did you go to, and where exactly are you from?
I'm from a small town called Suffield, Connecticut, and I went to Suffield High School, and I
Okay.
also went to the Greater Hartford Academy of Math and Science. So I did a half-day program, which allowed me to take more advanced math and science classes while
Oh,
also taking
excellent,
my humanities.
excellent. So you're from Connecticut.
Yes.
Okay, very interesting. I'm actually from Philadelphia, and of course Terry Bryant, where you got the scholarship from the Terry Bryant Law Firm, and they're in, of course, Houston, Texas. So we're all over the map today, which is good. That's good. So I want you to tell me a little bit about why you chose the topic, how it resonates with you, and because your presentation had, I felt a lot of passion in it, as if you feel pretty passionately about this topic.
Yes, absolutely. So when I was a sophomore in high school, I actually participated in a program called the National Summer Transportation Institute, where I got to learn about everything from pavement to traffic to how roads are made. But we also had a huge focus on distracted driving and how to prevent it and how to keep ourselves and our families and our friends safe. So that was the first thing that inspired me. But I also had a close friend pass away who was hit by a driver who was distracted.
Oh,
So my presentation kind of combined several aspects of my life.
yeah, that's very sad. And unfortunately, as sad as those things are, excuse me, they also are oftentimes the motivation for our passions and often lead to our getting involved in topics like this. So one of the things I was really thought was really neat in your presentation was you talked about starting a campaign yourself, which a lot of times we don't think about that, but that's very doable. Tell us a little bit about that concept and what you meant by that.
So at my school, we actually started it. We do a distracted driving campaign, and we partnered with our local Dunkin' Donuts, and we called it Donut Drive Distracted. And so we put up flyers, and we had coupons, and we had stickers, and we had an app that we could put on to pledge not to be distracted. And it worked really, really well in our school community.
That is fantastic. Donut Drive Distracted. Now, did you actually come up with that, or you were just one of the people that ran it?
So I was not the one who came up with that specific slogan. We had a vote, but I was part of the group who organized it all.
Oh, that is awesome. I love that. That is awesome. So now, I know this, Marissa, whether you know it or not, you are a role model, and I know there's a lot of kids that look up to you. And I want to talk to you a little bit about your advice to, because people are going to be watching this other than just your peers. What advice do you give to high school students and college age students in terms of distracted driving?
So I think my biggest piece of advice is not to be selfish because when you drive distracted, you don't only put your life at risk, but you put others' lives at risk and you put others' hearts at risk. So it's really important to think about others and to think about the consequences of your actions and what you're doing specifically because I think people don't understand exactly what it is to distracted drive and what the consequences are.
Yeah. And another question, I know for a lot of young people, it's difficult if you're in a car with a driver and that driver is just distracted. As a passenger, what advice do you have? Because for some kids, I mean, it's difficult, to, especially if the person driving is kind of a peer that is influential. But as a passenger, what do you say to others?
As a passenger, you have to be really, really confident. And my first thing I do whenever either my parents or my friends, like they look at their phone while they're distracted, while they're driving, I look at them and say, hey, I'm not comfortable with you doing this. Can I help you? And I take the phone away or take the distraction away. And I offer to read the text, to send the text, to make the call. And then I immediately hide the distraction. So I'll put the phone on the ground, I'll put it in the glove compartment and take away that. And if distractions keep popping up, you keep doing that and you take away the distraction, but you offer to help, which makes it seem kinder, but you have to be very firm.
Yes, that is great advice and very well thought out, and very well articulated, by the way.
Thank you.
So tell us a little bit. You went to a math and science advanced training. What are your career goals?
So I don't know specifically what I want to do in the long term, but in college, I definitely want to continue oncology research, which I had started in my junior year and I continued throughout the rest of high school. And I also have a passion for economics and also for psychology. Uh, so overarching the theme is helping people. I love helping people. I love interacting with children and with my friends and with adults. So I want to help them some way, specifically through the medical field, if I can, because there's a lot of research that needs to be done and finances that need to be kind of altered in order for people to be able to afford this up and coming research.
Yes, yes. And you know what? The warmth that you exude is very evident. I mean, you have a very warm smile, and you can just tell that you're someone that cares deeply about people.
Thank you.
I really see that. It really comes through. So let's talk a little bit about, because this is interesting. You're in Connecticut. Terry Bryant's in Houston. How did you find this scholarship? How did you come across this?
Yeah. So one of my favorite TV shows is Shark Tank, where they have all the new inventions. And one of the inventors came on and they had an app called Scully, which puts a whole bunch of scholarships into one app and it'll sort them based on which ones apply to you and which ones they recommend you apply
Yeah.
for. And when I signed up for this app, Terry Bryant was one of the first ones that was on the list. And I saw it and I was going through the scholarships and then I chose the ones that I thought I wanted to apply to. And then that was the first one that I was like, I really want to do this because I was very passionate about the topic.
That is really awesome. And you know what? I saw that episode, and Shark Tank is one of my favorite shows. That's so funny. Well, let me ask you this, because from a young person's perspective, do you know a little bit about what Mr. Bryant does at his firm?
Yes, I've actually looked into it a little bit.
Oh, very good. So how do you, as a young person, how do you look at that, and what value do you see? Obviously, I see a lot of value in what he does. How do you look at that as from a young person in your perspective?
Of course, from a young person and not having a large income at all, seeing what he does uh, is particularly inspiring because he's helping people and he's offering his services and his time for little to no cost at all in the beginning. So individuals have this huge ability to access him and to
Right.
access help and truly feel comfortable and safe in his care and in his leadership, which I think is amazing. And that has inspired me to also devote my life into a different field, but also trying to make it affordable and accessible.
That's awesome. It really is. And that is true, because a lot of times when people have accidents or whatever, things like that, they don't realize that you can get help, and it doesn't cost you anything to make the phone call and get involved. So I think it's good that you realize that. Is there anything you'd like to say to Mr. Bryant personally? I assume you haven't met him.
I haven't met him, but I would just like to thank him for his unwavering generosity to not only me, but to everyone who he has helped. And I am in awe of what he has accomplished and what he continues to accomplish and all his company stands for.
Well, Marissa, I'll tell you what, you're a pretty remarkable young lady, and I'm sure that if he was here, he'd have some glowing things he'd like to say about you. But let me say them for him. We really look at young people like you, that have such passion and such capability, and you guys are going to become world changers. And I definitely see you as having very strong leadership skills, very strong people skills, and most of all, as I said, you have a warm smile. I think the thing that stands out the most to me, and I've only just met you today, is that you're just so warm. It's so obvious that you care very deeply about helping people. And I'm sure that you will be enormously successful in your endeavors. So I thank you so much for being with us today. Congratulations again on winning the scholarship. Well deserved.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. And to those of you that are watching either live or by replay, you can contact Terry Bryant's office if you would like to, and you could even look into next year's scholarship if you're a high school senior and are interested in that. But the web address is terrybryant.com, and his phone number is 1-800-444-5000. So thanks, everybody, and most of all, Marissa, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, bye, everybody.